Carrie Lynn Nixon was 16 when she disappeared from her own neighborhood in 1987. Unsolved Mysteries featured her case on the show in May 1989, but unfortunately, it did not produce any good leads. Years later, Carrie's mom was watching a New Kids on the Block video when she saw a girl in the audience whom she believed could be Carrie. Carrie was also a fan of the group, so it seemed plausible that it could actually have been her. Unsolved Mysteries featured Carrie's story again on the show, and this time used the clip of the NKOTB video. The members of the group also got involved and asked the girl in the video to step forward. The girl did, but unfortunately, it was not Carrie. The case was finally solved in 1994 when a man named Robert Jones confessed to the crime. It turned out that Robert was a bank robber, and in exchange for a lighter sentence for his wife, who drove the getaway car during a robbery, he made a deal with prosecutors for information about Carrie's disappearance. Jones had abducted, raped, and murdered Carrie, and then buried her in a shallow grave a few miles from her home. A mother and her teenage daughters were on vacation in Florida when they were found dead in Tampa Bay. While on vacation, they had met a man who offered to take them on a boat ride around the bay. He ended up raping and killing all three and dumping their bodies in the water. Their bodies were discovered bound, gagged, and weighed down with concrete blocks. The police had not much evidence to go on but a note with directions to a local hotel on it that was found in their hotel. The handwriting on the note was not the handwriting of any of the three victims. After several more years of no leads, the police decided to put a copy of the handwritten note up on a billboard. This proved to be the key that solved the case when they received handwriting samples of the killer. Oba Chandler was arrested 2 months later and executed for the crimes in 2011. 17-year-old Daphne Boyden was murdered in her home in California in 1996. The killer set her body on fire and had escaped with Daphne's 25-day-old son. Witnesses said they saw 2 girls leave the house, but after that, the police had no other leads. 6 years later, in 2002, the police were finally able to solve the crime. An anonymous tip came in after the case had been rebroadcast on Unsolved Mysteries. It turned out that the killer was Latasha Brown, who, with the help of her cousin, shot Daphne and set the fire to cover her tracks. Latasha had fled to Texas, where she obtained a fake birth certificate and then returned to California. She raised Daphne's son just 2 miles from the scene of the crime. Prosecutors said that Latasha had had a previous relationship with the baby's father, and jealousy had caused her to commit the murder and steal the baby. She was sentenced to 37 years in prison.